As you're hearing tonight, very similar to what James and Catherine and Anthony have shared, the importance of feeling cared about, the importance of reaching out and getting help can make a difference. And similar to James, I'm going to introduce our next guest speaker, who is also has been in law enforcement. I'd like to introduce Bev, Mirian Bev Perez, pronouns she, her, is a retired police officer, motivational speaker, wellness coach, and the CEO of Shield Us, a nonprofit organization offering wellness retreats to first responders. Her goal is to raise awareness on breaking the stigma of mental health and ending the suicide epidemic. Bev, thank you for being with us here today.
Thank you, Dr. Jamie. Welcome, everybody. First of all, I want to say that this is really hard to be here today listening to these stories. Please take into account your health right now. If you need to talk to somebody, there are rooms here at the Zoom meeting that are being offered. So after this, you will hear other stories. That's why we're here, but take care of yourself. Thank you, Dr. Jamie. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Thank you, Bev, for that really important reminder. So again, in the chat, if anyone needs support, again, to honor yourselves, please take care of yourselves, and you could always come back to the room, but know that we're here to help you. That help's available if you need it. So Bev, my first question for you is if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, past and present.
Sure. Thank you very much for that question. I'm going to ask you before beginning something that I always do before speaking. I'm going to breathe in deeply through my nose and then exhale through my mouth. If you can join me and be part of this with me, we're going to breathe in deeply through our nose and then exhale through our mouth, because we're going to talk a little bit about my story. As Dr. Jamie told you, I was a police officer 5 years ago. While I was a police officer, I fell in love. I fell in love with another police officer, and this was one of my rules, not to do rules, but I did it anyways. And unfortunately, one day we had a gunshot, and he was working undercover when another police officer shoot him because he thought that he was the suspect. I was there present. I was wearing my uniform, and he passed away. He died in my arms. I tried to rescue him anyways, and I put his body in my police car, and I drove as fast as I could towards the hospital. And well, what can I say? That day, I lost my identification, which I think it was being a police officer, and more than that, I lost my best friend and the love of my life. After these months went by with a great depression, but I couldn't bear living without him anymore. I couldn't bear the depression. I couldn't bear the nightmares. I couldn't stand feeling that you are surviving while he's not there anymore. So I tried to kill myself in September. It was a coincidence that that is the month when we raise the awareness against suicide. And I tried to take my life on that day, and because of things of life, this didn't happen, and I'm still here. And it's been 5 years since that incident. And my purpose is to tell my story as many times as I had to, so that people can have these kind of conversations, and so that they can understand that they have more in common with other people than they think, and that they shouldn't feel bad about their worries, and it's important to talk. So I will tell my story in the most vulnerable way as I can. And I also want to tell you that the day I tried to take my life, I was completely drunk. I had drunk so much that I wasn't conscious, and this played a very important role when you try to take your life from you. The other day, I was looking for something on Facebook, and I found the note that I left to my family. And for me, the most difficult thing is that I'm still living with this idea that this is the love of my life and he died in my arms. How am I going to overcome this? What shall I do? But let me tell you that I have found a way to choose life every day. And that's why I'm here. Because if you know somebody or you are somebody who have this kind of thoughts, that's okay, but let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. And I want to encourage you and help you to find a reason to live every day, whether it's your children, your work, or your mother, your dog, anything. But you should have a reason to live every day. And that's why I'm here to help you with that and to explain to you other things, other goals, other things that you can do to take care of yourself when things like this happen. What can we do immediately? What can I do immediately to help my mental health? What can I do? And that's what I did. And that's what I want to offer to you, this help, how to survive, how to move on, because actually in this life, we are going to go through losses and traumas. And that's the way it is. Life is going to um, give us these kind of situations of trauma and losses, but how are we going to overcome this? I'm here to help you with all these questions, to show you the way I have overcome this and how I move on and how every day I choose to live with a lot of gratitude and love. So thank you for giving me the chance to be here and sharing my story, Dr. Jamie.
Thank you, Bev, so very much. And you were talking about the things that help you today. Can you share some of those things that help you get through the tough times and things that really help you cope, and what's worked for you?
Honestly, what was best for me is to talk. And if you notice, this is something that we have in common, the people who had talked here, to talk, because sometimes we don't talk about the things that worry us, whether it is financial problems, we don't want to talk about it. If we have divorce problems, we don't want to talk about it. If we have problems with alcohol, we don't want to talk about that, but why not? If we give us a chance to talk about these topics that people really feel uncomfortable about, we're going to be amazed the many things that we have in common with other people who might be going through the same thing or something very similar, and to have this simple human connection that is just 1 second that gives you a chance to choose life instead of death, to talk. For me to tell my story, every time I tell it, I become stronger. That's why I do it, to help other people who are listening to me, and also to help myself, to talk about it. That's the number one thing that helped me, to talk. Number two is my family and the love that I feel for them. And to think of not seeing my nephews and my niece, my mother, these things. The third thing that helped me a lot is physical activity. I do exercise, I swim, I surf. So you have to find a hobby, something to do with your body every day. And one more thing is my self-love. I mean, love for myself, definitely to love myself, it's important.
Thank you. When thinking about, again, it's a very common thing that sometimes we don't feel like we deserve things, or we don't feel like we even deserve self-love. How does one bridge that, and some of the themes that people talked about earlier of feeling like not worthy, and sometimes we feel that way in our life. So how for you did you get from that place not feeling, like it was too much, to the place of I'm enough, I could do more, I could help others. Can you share a little bit about that? Because the idea that's the resilience everyone that shared today has shown by being here today. That's the resilience. And it doesn't mean that it's easy, but how does one get there and continue sometimes if it is still a struggle?
Yes, thank you. It's always a struggle. And the thing is that it is a personal road. But what had to happen is that I had to touch the deepest in my life. So I couldn't bear being in that situation anymore, drinking every day, not doing physical activity, sleeping a lot, and keep on thinking about that day, having nightmares every night. So you have to go through that, and suddenly you get bored of that situation. I don't want to see my mom's face with that depression. I don't want to be the person who makes my mother cry because she sees a daughter who she can't help. I didn't want to bear that weight on me anymore. I didn't want to be like that without doing anything about it. I was thinking, how can something like this happen to me, as if it was a movie? And how can I be like that, doing nothing? I had to honor his name and myself. So this was a very personal road. But suddenly something happened to me and I said, no, I'm strong. And that there is a reason why I'm here. I have a purpose. And this is what you have to find. Each one of you has to find your reason. And that reason shouldn't be outside. It's inside yourself. You have to open your mind, do meditations. I do that a lot. And to try to find your purpose, why this happened to me, and not as a victim, but just to find out why this happened to me. Why did life give me this situation? What should I do? And that was the moment when I said I had to do something with this, and I have to be the voice of other police officers who are going through the same situation, who are not receiving the support or the help from their departments, or people in general, not only police officers, everybody who think that we are living these kind of situations alone, but it's not like that. So you have to try to think why this happened to me and try to find your own reason. And when you have that reason, then you will be able to move on and to continue with the struggle. And I'm very grateful and happy to say that I found my reason, my purpose, and to be here today in this kind of activities. This is my purpose.